Hey, what are some ways to induce labor as quick as possible? They're really, so if you read the studies, they're hello, Facebook, welcome. There you go. If you read the studies, there really are not ways to go into labor, really anything faster than just natural labor. So your best bet is to just chill out. I wish I had been able, sorry, can you see me now? Can you guys see me? Can you see me now? Can anybody on TikTok see me? Facebook, hello? Facebook and YouTube. If you guys have questions, I would love to answer them. Feel free to put in the comments. Can you guys see me on TikTok? Live? I got a heart, so I'm hoping that people can. Anyway, how to go. I have a Going into Labor Made Easy, but it really just talks about how your body decides to go into labor and then remind you that there really isn't that much you have control over. So people seem to think they have lots of control over it, but that is not the case. Facebook or in TikTok, can you see me? I'm growing in followers, so I think so. Taja said, I'm 34 weeks and I just feel like he's moving so much more than normal. Is that okay? I feel like he's almost scared. When he does, it's something. Maybe did she do something to scare him? Any big changes in fetal movement are something that you should report to your provider. That's just what they say. So if you feel like all of a sudden the movements changed, not just like they slowly got more and more, that's more okay. But like one day they're nothing, the next day it's like War of the Worlds in there, I would call your provider and just have a check at 34 weeks. They can do an NST and just see how baby's doing. TikTok, can you see me? It's saying no connection, and I don't know that that's true. I would love it if somebody from TikTok would say something. Let's see if I can see me on my web browser. Says I'm live. Hi. Okay. TikTok can see me. Okay, cool. What other questions do you guys have? So I'm writing a post about VBACs. Is anybody looking to VBAC? Tell us in the comments. And the post so far is the first thing is to really have a long discussion with your provider about why you had your C-section the first time, and what issues they see surrounding that. Because a lot of people are like, oh, well, these are the things you need to VBAC. Everybody can VBAC. That's not the case at all. There are a lot of people that really shouldn't even attempt to VBAC. And so you have to be really careful about stuff like that. Laura said 20 weeks or 2 days past 40 weeks. Thinking about asking for a membrane sweep Friday. I've heard they are extremely painful. Is this true? What are the risks? Laura, since you're on Facebook, I have a post about membrane sweeps. Has anybody thought about asking for a membrane sweep? Tell us in the comments. I'm going to put that on the chat on Facebook. But yeah, the studies really show that it sort of works, sort of doesn't. And so you just have to be thoughtful of if you think it not working is worth the vaginal exam. For most people, there is a small risk of infection with a membrane sweep, but most of it is the pain of the membrane sweep that people just aren't fans of. Newly pregnant, I am so tired. Any ways to help my energy levels? Sleep a lot. Make sure you're staying hydrated. You're taking your prenatal vitamins. You're eating across the rainbow. That's really it. When you see the placenta and you'll see what you built in that early first trimester, you'll know why you're so tired. Like, it is a lot of iron stores and energy put into the placenta. So TikTok, it keeps telling me no connection. Is everybody seeing me over on TikTok? Somebody asks, membrane sweeps can also accidentally rupture your membranes. That is also true. It's really rare, though. I've only seen a doctor break water in the office like a couple times, and they've always said they weren't stripping membranes, but I'm kind of like, what else were you doing in there? Let's see. Any other questions, guys? TikTok. I think I'm gonna pull off and then restart because it keeps saying not connected. Preeclampsia happening again. I'm Haley. I'm gonna go off. I'm gonna come right. Well, more people are coming on, so I don't know if you guys want to share it or do all the likes. Maybe it'll share it with other people. I'm trying to have another baby, but I'm scared preeclampsia happening again. How likely is it? I am actually doing a Facebook Live with a March of Dimes in a couple weeks about aspirin in pregnancy and how it can lower your risk of preeclampsia. So that's a good option. I don't know if you did it last time. It's kind of a newer-ish thing, probably since 2020 in the last 4 years. But I get a lot of people that are like, my doctor told me to take aspirin and he's trying to ruin me, right? So yes, aspirin. So, I mean, for my first years in labor and delivery, absolutely no one was supposed to take aspirin. And then I saw it being used towards the end, and now it's used very frequently. So, yeah. I am the pregnancy nurse, meaning I know mostly about once you are definitively pregnant. I'm not that great at HG testing or pregnancy tests, so I'm not going to be answering any questions with it too. My doctor got me taking it. Yep. Haley, don't do it until you know you're pregnant. And I'm not sure that you're supposed to take it right away. Or if it's like after a little bit of time. Elizabeth, I don't know what your issue is with aspirin. What does it say? Maybe that you're afraid of it. I don't know. You do need to take it with food though, because it can really hurt your stomach lining. Although it's just, I think most of them, they tell you to chew it and it's like the chewable kind. You do have hypertension, so high blood pressure from your first pregnancy in 2023. So there's a chance of it, Haley. I mean, there's just no way to know. But at least they would have a good handle on it. Probably you'll already be on some labetalol. You know, just keeping an eye on it. I don't think any doctors would discourage you from doing it as long as your hypertension is under control right now. Katie said, my doctor had me taking baby aspirin when I started trying conceiving. Yeah, it might be different for different people. So check with your provider. How accurate are blood Q natals? I'm not sure what those are. About preeclampsia, I'm scared to get it. Yeah, it can be really scary. But I have to say, so many people have it anymore. Like, it's kind of routine for us to check for it or deal with it in pregnancy. Okay, so you're something labetalol. Yeah, the hypertension meds are weird. Like sometimes labetalol will work for somebody, and sometimes they don't work at all. Sometimes just one works better than the other. So yeah, thank goodness they're there though. Crystal said, is it normal to be scared? I'm having my second C-section on June 18th. Crystal, I would definitely recommend taking a prenatal class, although it sounds like you probably already have had a C-section from that comment. And the second one's going to be so much better. So much better. I can't tell you how much better it's going to be. I've always had patients who are super, super nervous to come in and have that C-section after they'd had like an emergency or an urgent one. It's just so much better. It's so much more relaxed. We tell you everything that's going on. Sometimes when it's urgent or emergency, we don't have the time to really explain things as much. And so I think you're going to enjoy it a lot. If you just want to take a little bit of information about C-sections, I have a class that's called C-sections Made Easy, where I just teased out just the C-section chapter of my class. So if you just want to take that, but it doesn't have any information on C-section recovery and things like that. So I still recommend people take the full prenatal class, but that is an option. You can find it under resources on my site. Crystal, because you're on Facebook, though, I can put the link right there in the chat. I don't know that much about getting pregnant, so I'm going to skip any of those questions. Haley said she had one, I'm guessing a C-section, because her daughter was so big and it was scared, but it wasn't too bad though. That's awesome. Yeah, a lot of times I'll have people who say they were scared or nervous about their C-section and then say it really wasn't any worse than they thought it might be. So that's always a big win for me. Yeah, awesome. Do any of you guys have any more questions? Oh, baby's heart rate was 150 today at OB. Sounded different than previous times. Is that normal? It can just be the Doppler. It can just be like they all kind of sound just a little bit different every time I get on. Could be how the angle that they're getting the heartbeat at. She's probably getting bigger, and so it might be louder or more whooshy. So I wouldn't be too worried about it. Kenzie says she's 6 weeks. She's so excited. Kenzie, I'm so glad. Thanks for being here. Have you followed me? I actually have a pregnancy newsletter that I can come hang out with you during your pregnancy. And I actually just also started a pregnancy Substack today. Is anyone on Substack? I have no idea. I haven't done that too much, but I'm actually like mainly a writer. So I'm kind of like, why don't I put some stuff on Substack? Might get some new people found. Okay. Any other? Kenzie, how are things going? Are you feeling okay? Janiza said, I'm 26 weeks. I ought to breathe already. This is my second pregnancy. Yeah, I do feel like there is a point where they sort of drop down a little bit and you get a little bit lower lung space and then it goes away. It's annoying though. Also, your rib cage expands a little bit while you're pregnant, and that gives you a little bit more air also, which I always thought was fascinating that your body just knows to do that. Yeah, it's a bugger where a baby just slides up into your lung space. Like I was using that. Thank you. That was oxygenating the both of us. But I guess you feel like you need that space, right, baby? Q-natal detects Down syndrome or anything wrong, and some do gender. Okay, so it's like yeah. They've changed that test a few times, so I don't know all that much about it. I'm 2 days late. Sorry, don't know anything about getting pregnant or pregnancy tests. I should be the like second and third trimester pregnancy nurse. So we were talking about VBACs, and I think something that's really important for people who might have a C-section, might VBAC, might be induced, is to make sure that you're taking a prenatal class. I think so often people go in thinking they're going to be fine, and then they get so many questions asked of them that they're like, I'm not really even sure what the answer is, right, at this point. So come join me in the online prenatal class for couples. It is the easy way to get prepared for birth, and I actually have a Mother's Day sale going on right now, and come join me. Yeah, it's very, very reasonable right now. You can find it under resources. The first class has all the basic stuff, or you can get the bundle that includes a nutrition class, breastfeeding, baby care, baby sleep, all sorts of different stuff that you can get all in just one place. I failed my glucose test. I needed 135 to pass, but was 138. I need to take the 3-hour test. Yeah, it's the worst, but just go do it, and then you'll have it done. You definitely want to know if you have diabetes. That's not something to mess around with or have a question mark, but I am with you on the train that is not very fun. My big tip is to make sure that you bring something to eat right after the test is done. I went home, made my kid lunch, and then I was like, I'm going to die. So the next time I took it, I made sure to bring a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in the car that I ate as soon as I was done, and that helped a little bit. I still feel pretty punk after it though. Punk. I don't think that's a real word anymore, is it? Mate said, thoughts on raspberry leaf tea for third trimester. Does it actually work? The studies do not show that it is effective in preventing or putting you into labor or actually like softening your cervix or anything like that. The only two studies that I've read are dates and sex, but they have to be done multiple times, like daily, like 36 weeks on. I'm not sure on sex. I'm not actually sure how frequently they had it, like maybe just every 3 days. But dates, they say every day for that last month of pregnancy, and it doesn't even put you into labor, but it decreases your need for an induction. So that's a lot of dates though. And if I had like gestational diabetes, I don't know what I would do because it's a lot of sugar too. Light bleeding at 10 weeks, but no cramps, freaking out first pregnancy. Bleeding can be problematic. It also sometimes is just implantation or other things. So just keep an eye on it. Call your provider if you have any questions. Haley said the glucose test made me so sick I refused it, and the doctor got mad at me and made me monitor my sugar. Yeah, I mean, you can make the choice to not take the glucose test, but one of the risk factors is stillbirth for sure. If you don't know if you should be doing your diet or not, and you just go about your life, then baby can't do well, and there can actually be long-term health consequences for us too. So monitoring your sugar sounds like a nice alternative if you don't want to do the sugar test. Yeah. All right. We got a question over on Facebook. I'm 22 weeks here. My OB assumed that I have high blood pressure. She subscribed a medication to lower my blood pressure twice a day. After a week, though, I became low blood. Then she said to take it once a day, still in low blood. So I decided not to take the meds until I come back to her on Saturday. Is that okay? I can't tell you yes or no on meds. But if your blood pressure is low, I would encourage you to call them. They should be taking care of you either way. Chase said, what due date is most accurate? The first visit ultrasound or dates? Totally. Every practice seems to have their own way of deciding on dates. I've always been told that first ultrasound is the best, unless you know what day you got pregnant or you are real sure of your dates. But most people aren't, which is why we like that first ultrasound. So, but every doctor seems different. The ultrasound changed mine by like a week, and they didn't ever adjust it, even though I think the ultrasound was right. But who knows? All right. Any more questions? Last call. We'll do last call for questions. Come join me in the online prenatal class for couples. It has a Mother's Day sale going on right now. I would love to have you guys join me in there. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments as well. Crystal says, I failed my 1 hour glucose and got severely sick after the second draw on my third, so I had to monitor my blood sugar. Yeah. I wish they could find a new way, but when you look at it, it really is the best thing that we have right now to do it. I'm hoping someday we have something better, but we don't. Samantha says, I'm booked for a C-section next month, but I'm having lots of contractions every day and pressure. Is it false labor? I don't know. Call your provider if you shouldn't be having labor contractions. The only difference between false labor and true labor is that true labor leads to you having the baby, and false labor peters out and you don't have the baby. So that's really the difference. True labor starts getting stronger, more intense, longer, stuff like that. False labor doesn't do those things. It usually stays the same or just keeps going very similarly. Yeah, but you don't really know the difference until you go into the labor point where you're like, oh yeah, this is a real thing. But you never know that until you're like, yeah, it's so tricky, you guys. You had C-sections and never dealt with this. Yeah, so ask your provider if they're okay with you having contractions or not. They should be able to answer that. So, all right, thank you. Oh, I'm 30 weeks carrying 3 weeks ahead and belly just dropped. Yeah, so your lungs are happy, your bladder's not that happy. Not unusual. Sometimes they call that fetal lightning. Kind of a weird name. But anyway, thank you guys for joining me. Thanks for your questions. I hope everybody has a great Wednesday, and we will talk to you later. Bye.